Welcome to our show, and we will be discussing emergency preparedness. This is Troop 243, and we would like to take a half hour of your time to discuss emergency scenarios and how to deal with them if the situation occurs. In the Boy Scouts of America Emergency Preparedness Handbook, an emergency is defined as something that requires immediate action. My name is Jack Delia, and I will be your host. The emergencies we will be talking about are emergencies that may occur in New England, including the weather and the first aid. First, the Scouts will show you what every emergency preparedness kit should have. First of all, let's discuss what it takes for the storm to be severe.
Here are the 4 things that the American Red Cross defines as a severe weather storm, winter storm outlook. Winter storm conditions are possible in the next 2 to 5 days. Winter weather advisory. Winter weather conditions are expected to cause significant inconveniences and may be hazardous. When caution is used, these situations should not be life-threatening. Winter storm watch. Winter storm conditions are possible within the next 36 to 48 hours. People in a watch area should review their winter storm plans and stay informed about weather conditions. Winter storm warning. Life-threatening, severe winter conditions have begun or will begin within 24 hours. People in a warning area should take precautions immediately.
Remember the October snowstorm that devastated the town? Remember that power was out for a whole week? Many left town where it was nice and warm because they weren't prepared for the storm, and the ones who did, some accidents have occurred while operating their generators or just walking around town. Well, this emergency kit me and one scout will show you will demonstrate what you should have in your emergency kit or area. Mummy bags retain your body heat, keeping you warm to negative 30 degrees. Canned food, non-perishable, is good to have in an emergency situation. A can opener is also important to open canned food. You need a 3-day supply of water, 1 gallon per person, stored in sealed, not breakable containers. Money is also important to have in case you need anything that isn't on the list. You should keep a whistle in case you are trapped under rubble or lost.
Toilet paper. No further explanation necessary.
You should keep a cell phone with you in case you need to call for help.
Local maps so you can find your way around town.
You should keep copies of important family documents, such as birth certificates, because it's possible they could be destroyed in the storm.
If there is no heat, you should have blankets to keep warm at night. This will reduce your chance of getting hypothermia.
In areas that are prone to cold weather like Connecticut, it's important to keep items like gloves, mittens, scarves, and winter coats close at hand.
Multi-purpose tools are good to have around for various household needs.
If you have a safe fireplace, firewood is recommended for an ample source of heat.
If you decide not to go this route and purchase a generator, please read and obey the directions because fatal accidents may occur like house fires and poisonous gases if placed in an enclosed area.
4 steps of emergency preparedness. Prepare. Make a plan and practice it in case an emergency arises. Assemble an emergency kit with the materials listed above. Also watch the news daily for natural disasters.
Response. Your response to the emergency is the most crucial and may vary. It may include first aid or finding shelter. Your choices may prevent secondary damage such as an injury or accident.
Recovery. After a disaster, the goal is to get things back to normal. This doesn't only include property damage, but physical and emotional damage as well.
Mitigation and prevention. Mitigate means to lessen in force or intensity. In this case, it means to make the difference between inconvenience and tragedy. Mitigation often involves managing risk. This also means becoming aware of and responding to risks and hazards. Mitigation efforts can prevent an emergency from happening.
Now let's go back in time to when the snowstorm occurred. You could have prepared by watching the news and preparing your family plans. Winterize your vehicle and keep the gas tank full. A full tank will keep the fuel line from freezing. Insulate your home by installing storm windows or covering windows with plastic from the inside to keep the air out. Maintain heating equipment and chimneys by having them cleaned and inspected every year.
If you will be going away during cold weather, leave the heat on in your home, set to a temperature no lower than 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Look over your first aid kit to make sure you have the right safety materials to get by the storm and the aftermath. you could have responded by knowing what actions you would take ahead of time. Listen to NOAA Weather Radio or other local news channels for critical information from the National Weather Service. Bring pets or companion animals inside during winter weather. Move other animals or livestock to sheltered areas and make sure that their access to food and water is not blocked by snowdrifts, ice, or other obstacles. Running water, even at a trickle, helps prevent pipes from freezing. All fuel-burning equipment should be vented to the outside and kept clear. Keep garage doors closed if there are water supply lines in the garage. Open kitchen and bathroom cabinet doors to allow warmer air to circulate around the plumbing. Be sure to move any harmful cleaners and household chemicals up out of the reach of children. Keep the thermostat set to the same temperature both during the day and at night. By temporarily suspending the use of lower nighttime temperatures, you may incur a higher heating bill, but you can prevent a much more costly repair if pipes freeze and burst. Go to a designated public shelter if your home loses power or heat during periods of extreme cold.
Avoid driving when conditions include sleet, freezing rain or drizzle, snow, or dense fog. If travel is necessary, keep a disaster supplies kit in your vehicle. Before tackling strenuous tasks in cold temperatures, consider your physical condition, the weather factors, and the nature of the task. Protect yourself from frostbite and hypothermia by wearing warm, loose-fitting, lightweight clothing in several layers. Stay indoors if possible. Help people who require special assistance, such as elderly people living alone, people with disabilities, and children.
You may have had to recover by repairing your home and property, but emergency services and the Red Cross were available and still are in case you had or still have questions. Warning: frostbite and hypothermia are two dangerous and potentially life-threatening emergencies. Call 911 if either of those are present.
But along the way, you could have mitigated or lessened the impact on your family and prevented additional damages or injuries. Even after the storm, wear gloves when handling debris to prevent cuts and infections.
If you find yourself trapped in a snowstorm while driving, you should ask yourself, what is the safest thing to do? Well, first, you need to stop the car and stay inside. Call 911 and remain in the car, or you will wander out into the storm. Try to flash your emergency lights to draw attention to others so they can avoid hitting your car. If possible, run the engine and heater just long enough to remove the chill from the air. Don't let the exhaust pipe clog up with snow. Blockage could let deadly carbon monoxide fill the passenger compartment. If you are stuck in a car longer than 6 hours and the coldest becomes unbearable, then consider moving to a snow hole or snow shelter, if one is in sight. A snow hole is 15 degrees to 20 degrees warmer than the cold air. If you plan for traveling, view your local news station for blizzards or any other natural disaster and plan your route accordingly. When traveling in cold weather, be sure to have a shovel, blankets or sleeping bags, tire chains, ice scraper, bottled water, and high-energy candy bars. In an emergency, portable electric generators offer life-saving benefits. When outages affect your home or business, they can safely power important electrical equipment such as heating units, computers, water pumps, freezers, refrigerators, and lighting. However, portable generators used can also be very hazardous. If you plan on using an emergency generator, it's essential that you take precautions for your safety and the safety of those working to restore power.
The most effective way to avoid portable generator mishaps is to make sure you fully understand the proper operating procedures. Read the following manufacturing guidelines before operating or manufacturing your generator. And don't forget to use common sense. Follow these tips for safe portable generator use. Step number 1. Always read and follow the manufacturer's operating instructions before running the generator. Step number 2. Engines emit carbon monoxide. Never use a generator inside your home, garage, or crawling space, or other enclosed areas. Do not put a generator near a fan, open doors, or windows. And try to provide fresh air. Only use your generator outdoors, away from the open windows, vents, or doors. Use a battery-powered carbon monoxide detector in the area while you're running a generator. Gasoline and its various vapors are extremely flammable. Allow the generator engine to cool for at least 2 minutes before refueling, and always use fresh gasoline. If you do not plan to use your generator in 30 days, don't forget to stabilize the gas with fuel stabilizer. Maintain your generator according to the manufacturer's maintenance schedule for peak performance safety. Never operate the generator near combustible materials. Next advice. If you have to use extension cords, be sure they are of the grounded type and are rated for the application. Coil cords can get extremely hot. Always uncoil cords and lay them in that open locations. Never plug your generator directly into your home outlet. If you are connecting a generator into your home's electrical system, have a qualified electrician install a power transfer switch. Generators produce powerful voltage. Never operate under wet conditions. Take precautions to protect your generator from exposure to rain and snow. Now we are going to take this time to make some interviews. Now we have Officer Silva, and we will be asking him questions to do during a winter storm. When the power was out, how should people drive without the traffic lights on?
Hopefully they're not on the road, first of all. But we try to get portable stop signs at all the intersections as quickly as possible.
Okay.
But if there aren't any there, approach it with caution. Make sure you treat it just like a red, like a stop sign.
All right. So just stop. Look
Every
back.
intersection, look both ways.
Look
just
both
make sure
ways,
it's safe
go.
to go. Yep. But generally, we get them up pretty quick.
Get them up pretty quick.
Yeah, we get them up pretty quick.
Like in an hour.
Within an hour. Within
an hour.
Within half an hour usually.
All right.
Especially at the major intersections.
All right. What do you do when you see a down wire?
If it's an electrical wire, we stay on scene with our lights so no one goes near it. So
Right.
just a safety issue. If it's cable or TV, generally we just report it to dispatch. They'll call it out to Cox Cable or to whatever agency got to come out to fix it. But if it's an electrical wire, we have to stay on scene for safety reasons.
Yeah. So
Usually when it's down, the electric company, we report it to the electric company, they shut the grid down so it's not live. Most of the time it's not live. But still.
So you direct traffic to go
Yep.
around?
Direct traffic to go around, yep.
So traffic will be directed when
Yep.
there are problems, when there's a down wire.
Yep.
What is the recommended speed limit during snowfall on the highway?
As slow as you have to go to be safe. There's not a specific speed limit when it's
Okay.
snowing, but I would say very slow if it's a lot of snow, depending on visibility and all that.
All right, so depending on visibility,
Mm-hmm.
drive this. So 20 to 25, right?
I would say
Yes.
definitely 20 to 25 heavy
All right.
snow. If you can't see 20 feet in front of you, then you pull off the road until the visibility improves.
All right. Did the crime rates go up during the snowstorm?
Generally, they don't because the burglars can't see either. But what we do is traffic obviously is light, so they'll stage us in malls and in areas where there's stores, and we'll just park in a lot just for crime prevention. But generally, they do not go up during snowstorms.
People don't need to be concerned about their valuables too much.
No, most
They're
people are
going
home
away.
anyway,
Yeah.
so it's so crime usually does not go up.
How do you validate a worker from a scammer that may claim to work for money?
Okay, first, anyone that comes to your door in the town of Wethersfield, you need a permit to solicit anything, be it work, selling anything. So
All
the
right.
the key is to see if they have a badge, which we would provide. They have to come to the police station to get a permit to do any work in town. If they don't have any validation of a permit, you can call the police on them. We'll come out and ID them, make sure they're okay. But the most important thing, if they have a valid permit, that's someone you should take seriously. But if they don't,
then call the police.
you could call the police and I wouldn't take their business, unless a friend sent them there, or someone friend of the family or something like that.
All right, so ask for permits if
Yep.
you are being solicited by scammers.
By a worker or anyone. Yep.
What is the penalty for snow on a vehicle, or if the vehicle is parked on the street during a storm?
If you have snow on your vehicle, it's an infraction. If you don't remove it, I think the fine, it just went up by maybe $132. It's basically the infraction is failure to take an unsecured load off your vehicle, which snow is a load that's on your vehicle. If you park in a snowstorm in a roadway where you're not supposed to be, depending on where you are, but mostly it's a $25 fine. Yep.
All right, so you'd rather park on the street than have snow on your vehicle?
Yes, it'll be cheaper to park on the street than having snow on your vehicle.
All right, finally, would you like to make a public service announcement?
Concerning this, yeah, why not? For a snowstorm, it's like anything, use common sense. You know, stay home if you know it's going to be bad, and that's the best thing you can do. Be prepared, just like the scouts are showing here. Try to get as many of these things as you can, and use common sense, and generally you should be okay.
Well, thank you, Officer Sula.
My pleasure.
Now we have Mrs. Kathy Bagley, who is the Parks and Recs Director, and one of her jobs is to open up the shelters. What should a person bring to the shelter?
Well, when we open the shelter for a storm or an emergency, we always recommend that people bring their own bedding. So if they bring a pillow, a blanket, change of clothes. Sheets, if they want to be comfortable. Medications, very important that they should bring their medications with them. And we've actually had people come and set up their own little place and make it just a little place away from home.
Nice, nice. All right. So what kind of entertainment do you have? Like, do you have games or do you have, like, music playing?
We have a little bit of everything. At the shelter, we'll have cards that you can play. We'll have some board games. Sometimes we'll open the gymnasium for the children that are at the shelter. So we try to have a little mix of things.
A little mix of things.
Basically, the shelter, it's a place to get warm and to be out of the weather, and the community center is on generators, so it is a place where you do have power.
So you will be entertained if you go to the community center. What else does a shelter provide?
Well, probably the key thing to think about with the shelter is it's a place of shelter. You're going to be warm so that if it's in the wintertime and you don't have heat in your house, it's going to be a place where you can be warm, where you can sleep overnight and be safe. And we do provide meals. So there's a couple of key things that we do, and it's an emergency shelter. So it's only when people are out of power or there's another emergency in town.
All right. So you said that you provide meals there, right? So would you like to display what kind of meals?
Well, these are our backup meals. I brought with me what are called MREs, which are meals ready to eat. And they come from the government. And in a pinch, you can use these, and you open them up. I'm not going to do that right now. No. But if you open them up, they come in different flavors. This one that I happen to bring with me is creamy chicken tetrazzini.
Flavorful.
Sounds pretty good. We've actually tasted these, and they're not bad.
Not bad. They're not bad.
They're not bad. They actually, when you open them up, and you get the main meal, which is the chicken, there's actually a chemical reaction that happens that makes it hot, so that you're actually eating a hot meal. It also has dessert.
What kind of dessert?
Well, I don't know what this one has. It's probably some kind of cookie or brownie is usually in here. And it all comes so that everything you need, utensils and everything, are in this little package. These are our backup in case anything happens and nobody has any power and we can't order meals. Like generally the first night that we're open with the shelter, you never know how many people are going to be there. So that's one of the keys to know, well, how do you order or how do you get enough for people that are there? So the first night we'll do pizza. And if there's a place in town that's open, we'll go there and get pizza. Right. So that's kind of how we'll start.
But during the October snowstorm, you resorted to these in the first couple nights, right?
No, actually, we had businesses in town that were open. So we were able to, we got pizza one night.
So did they, because I remember you told me that that stores have to throw out their food when all their power goes out. So did some stores just not lose power, or?
Some stores actually had generators. So some restaurants had generators. The restaurants that don't have generators, if they can't keep their food cold, after a certain period of time, then they have to throw it out because at that point it isn't good to eat. But we don't get that kind of food at the shelter. We'll generally go to a restaurant, hopefully in town, that either has power or is on generator.
So if you go to the shelter, you will have warm food.
Yes.
All right. How long can they stay?
The shelter is opened by the town manager. If he declares an emergency for the town for whatever reason, we'll open it up, and it could be a day, it could be 2 days, it could be a week, and that really depends on if the town is out of power, how long it takes to get the power back. So there will always be a place if people don't have power.
So if you're struggling, you're always welcome, as long as power is out.
Yes.
Where is it located?
The shelter is at the community center. It's on Greenfield Street here in town, and the Picken Community Center is on generator. So as long as the generator is working, which it hasn't failed us yet, that's where we'll be.
Okay. How many people can you accommodate?
For sleeping, we could probably accommodate about probably 150 to 200, depending if we needed to use the gymnasium also. The gym is usually the last place we'll put people, just so we could use it for games during the type of storm or emergency that we're in.
Okay, so your entertainment comes first. Would you like to make a public service announcement?
Sure. I would just encourage people, whenever there is an emergency in town, is to stay safe first and wait and see what happens. And then when the shelter is open, if you feel you need to come, then we will be open and ready to work for you.
So stay safe and contact your local community center. Thank you, Mrs. Bagley, for coming
Thank you
in.
for having me.
And we would like to say, stay classy, Wethersfield.